Hello all, it's all here, back with another rune guide video. Today's rune guide is SWLC, or commonly known as the Barbarian King, or Barb King as we're going to call him for this video, because his name is just hard to say. So, in this video we're going to go through the best runes, the best stones, and the best team-ups for the Barb King. Just before we jump on there, if you do enjoy these videos, please give us a thumbs up and a like, because it means so much to me. I've also done 35 other rune guide videos, so just please check my channel out for the rest of the rune guides, so you know all the best runes to equip. So, moving on, the Barb King's attack, called Ruthless Blow. This leaves branding 2 on the frontline enemies and inflicts damages that's proportionate to the maxed HP of the target. So all those heavy HP monsters, the Barb King will do more damage to them. So just want to hear explain what branding does. Branding increases the incoming damage by a certain amount of percent. So branding 1 is 10, branding 2 is 20, branding 3 is 30% damage. This is not to get confused by defense down, whereas defense down reduces the enemy's defense value by a percentage, which will be level 1 25%, level 2 50, level 3 75%. So now we've got that out of the way, let's move on to early game. So in early game runes then, what you want to equip the Barb King is Fatal. That gives him an extra 15% attack, and this just overall helps him hit harder on the front line in early games, and hopefully getting as much binding as possible as he inflicts that before striking. So Fatal is the one you want to equip early game. Let's move on to mid game. Okay, now landing into the mid game, we've unlocked the majority of the runes. The one you need to equip the Barb King now is the Rage rune. So this gives him an extra 25% crit damage, and I'd also equip the Swift rune, which gives him 1 mana cost. So this drops him down to 3 mana cost monster rather than a 4 mana cost monster. And with the crit damage, as his ability is proportionate to the max HP of the enemy, having that crit damage maximizes the amount of damage he does on the enemy when he lands a crit. So mid game, they're the runes you want to put through. So let's jump into the late game. So now jumping into the late game, I would put on and keep on the Rage. So this gives him 25% extra crit damage. But now I would also now put on the Penetration rune, which gives him 10% damage penetration. With this now, you want to be making sure that all your runes are legendary, and you're definitely having to make sure that you have crit damage and crit rate on all the substats on the Barb King. You want to be aiming for over 200 crit damage, and you want to be looking anywhere between 40 and 50 crit rate, just so you can maximize him hitting harder on the front line. And with the 10% penetration, it just makes sure you're hitting a little bit harder on all the frontline enemies. So their late game runes are Rage and Penetration. So let's move on to what his stones are. The first stone we get is his Grey Stone, and this increases branding duration of Ruthless Blow by 6 seconds. This is very helpful early game. If you have this, you want to equip it. Just having another 6 seconds on top of what it normally happens is a very long time, and be able to get that damage in on the front line for longer. Then we have the Green Stone, which increases his damage of Ruthless Blow by 15%. Now, arguably, this is probably the best stone for him. Increasing his attack by 15% is big, and plus, like we've said, his attack is proportionate to the max HP of the target, so the more HP the target has, the more damage he will do. So that is one of the best stones for him to have. And then finally we've got his purple stone. Now this is a passive ability, and it grants attack up 2 and acceleration 2 on all allies if you defeat an enemy with Ruthless Blow. Now this is a good stone if you can work it into your team. However, for me personally, the green one having that extra damage on there is the better use for the Barb King. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree, but that's just my opinion there. So let's now move on to team ups. Best team ups for the Barb King is team number 1, which is with Faye, teaming up with Faye. Now her attack is similar to his, where they damage comes from the proportion of the max HP of the target, but she ignores defense, which is where branding comes into its own, because the Barb King inflicts branding 2, which is a 20% extra incoming damage. With Faye ignoring defense, that gives her basically an extra 20% incoming damage to the enemy, which is massive, which is why these two are such a good pairing. There is an argument to also put Lucian with him. It wouldn't be as effective as Faye because he attacks all the enemies. However, the front line will take more damage than the back line, as again, using branding and Lucian ignores defense, which is why using defense down spells using these two characters is not favourable, because it actually doesn't affect how hard they hit the enemy team. So they're the best team ups for the Barb King. Obviously extra incoming damage for all parties is also a bonus, but just Faye and Lucian are the ones, because they ignore defense, they're the ones you definitely need to match up with Barb King in any team. Now you know the best runes for the Barb King, the best stones, the best team ups, and I really hope you have enjoyed this. Again, please leave a thumbs up if you did. I'm on the road of doing all, maybe now 65 monsters, as the new monsters come in tomorrow. I'm bridging on 35 now, so over halfway. I would love for you to subscribe to me, and then that way you don't miss any of my rune guide videos. Link on the top here, just on the right, with the playlist of all my other rune guide videos. And that being said, thank you for watching.